Every day, people are trying to steal my clients, and every day I'm trying to take clients from someone else. This is a dog-eat-dog world. This is the battlefield of commerce. And you support the flag of your company, and if you do not defend the territory that you have claimed, someone else will come take that. Whatever is going to kill this deal, I need to know what it is right now. I actually want them to object. I want them to bring it to the surface. Because a lot of people will just tell you, yeah, we'll get back to you in a week, and you never hear from them again. Objections strike fear into the hearts of sales professionals. As a matter of fact, it's probably the biggest part of why sales professionals pay for sales courses, because objections suck, especially when you're new. But as you grow as a sales rep and you learn how to handle them, you actually start to kind of love them. See, when someone objects to me, I actually get excited. And the reason why is because I know that an objecting prospect is a winnable prospect, because they're comfortable enough to tell me why they're not going to move forward. And if I know why they're not going to move forward, I can solve that problem. All we do all day as sales professionals is solve problems. That's the name of the game. And so if we solve this problem, then we can get closer to winning the sale. Some prospects will never object. They'll nod their heads, but they'll never get back to you. They'll tell you, hey, call me back in a week. We'll let you know our decision in a week. And then you walk out of the office and you think maybe if you're new, maybe you think, oh, this is winnable, blah, 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 but then you never hear from them ever again. So while we can't account for every single objection you're going to get, what I want to do is give you a roadmap on how to deal with objections. Okay. Every single objection, you first need to isolate the objection and make sure that it is the real objection. And then you either need to go down 3 separate paths. You either need to educate them, you either need to motivate them, or you need to negotiate terms, right? You must always isolate the objection and verify that it is the true objection, right? And then you follow the EMN path. Okay? Because a lot of times, some people will object, but their objection isn't the real objection. They might say, I just don't know if I have the money for that. But really, they're scared that their wife is going to be disappointed if they come home with a brand new Mercedes-Benz, right? Oh, I just don't know if this is the right time. But really, they just don't have the money for that. Oh, I just don't know if this product will work. But really, they just don't think that they're going to be able to follow through on it. So you got to isolate the objection. Now, Matthew Ryder is a master sales professional. His YouTube channel is probably one of my favorites. He does a great job. And his objections, the way he breaks objections down into 1 or 2 categories. Number 1 is logistical. Number 2 is fear. So sneeze there for a second. Not going to edit that out. That's going to stay there, or maybe it will be. So he breaks all objections into 2 categories. One is a logistical category, another one is fear. So whenever we get into objections, before rushing in with an answer, we first need to qualify the objection and make sure it's a real objection, and make sure we understand what the objection is, right? So one thing that you're always going to get objections about, it's going to be one of the most common objections, is money, right? We don't have a budget for it. That's too expensive, right? Always going to deal with that problem, okay? But it could be because they're afraid to handle the money, or they just don't have the money, or they don't have the money in their account yet, right? So we'll give some examples. How do we isolate the money objection? The way I would isolate it is going back to questions. Questions are your friend. So one thing I would say is, hey, tell me, is that the only thing holding you back from moving forward right now? Money aside, do you feel like this solution would work well for you? Why is that? Again, I'm clarifying. Is this the true objection? Is it just money, or is it something else? If they say anything other than if they say, I just don't know if my partner will agree, well, then it's not just money. It could be money, but it's money and a partnership objection. Money aside, is this a solution that you feel is right for you? I just don't know if this is going to work. There's a belief problem there. Okay. And then you always tell them, why is that? You want them to reconfirm. You want them to tell you why it will work for them. I do feel like this is the right decision for me because we need a new car, and this car has all the safety features, and it's just, it's just a lot of money right now, right? So now what path do you take? Does this person need to be educated? Do they need to be motivated, or do you need to negotiate terms? And that's a path that you have to feel. There's no right answer here. I always like to lead with education though. Because if I come out with a big motivational speech and they just simply are waiting until they get paid on Friday, then I just hit them with all this nonsense stuff and made a fool out of myself. So I like to lead with education. If that doesn't work, then I move into motivation. And if that doesn't work, then I go into negotiation. If you go straight into negotiation, then you don't give yourself any room. And then you maybe gave them a cheaper price, and that was never the problem to begin. So ways I'll educate. And I'm going to use examples from different fields, from different industries throughout this process, right? So education. Hey, we have a net program where you can pay this off in 12 months. Or, hey, yes, here are the prices in the market. You can see that we're right in line with our other competitors for a similar product. Hey, I'm aware that we are more expensive, but if you remember from our slide where we showed how an average of 82% of companies report saving more with us, as the need to replace our product is far less due to the greater quality. Do you remember that? Right? What I'm doing here is I'm re-educating them. I'm re-showing them things that maybe they didn't know. Maybe they don't want to pay $5,000 off in one sitting, but if they can pay $500 a month, when that's now a more manageable option. Maybe they feel like they haven't done the research, but by you having the research, maybe you're an insurance broker and you can now flip your laptop around and show them, hey, I'm actually offering you the best price in the market. This carrier is willing to give this to you for $50 a month, whereas this carrier wants to do this for $70, and this carrier wants to do it for $90. And it's all the same exact insurance. So here's the prices out there. This is the best price in the market. Again, educating them. It might just be that they don't know, and they're afraid to make a decision because they don't feel like they have enough knowledge. A way to motivate might be to say, hey, I completely understand. I get why this is a big investment for you. Do you remember when we discussed how you want to lose weight, that you mentioned that you couldn't play with your grandkids? What happens if that continues? See what I'm doing to motivate is I'm using fear as the main motivator. I'm leveraging their fear. I'm leveraging what they told me in discovery and the consequence questions about why they want to lose the weight. Hey, if you don't lose the weight, what happens? You can continue to watch your grandkids play and not be able to take part of them. Is an investment right now worth so you can have the life with your grandkids that you always dreamed of? What's the answer there? If they say anything other than yes, either they don't believe that the product will work and it's not the real objection, or they're just not going to make a decision. Sometimes that happens. Negotiating. Listen, sometimes you just got to negotiate. Sometimes if money is objection, sometimes you just got to reduce your prices. Okay? We all have to do it. You might say, hey, I'm going to ask my manager to approve a deal where we get you this rebate if you hit this level of volume order. What I need from you is a guarantee. If I go up to him and say, you're going to commit to this volume order for a rebate, then you get the objection. If I get that guarantee from him, are we going to move forward with this? They say anything other than no? Okay, why is that? What else are we missing here? What else are we missing here? Oh, well, I need to ask a partner. Okay, then they might go into another objection. So you see, you're consistently isolating. You're consistently doing this. And when it comes to negotiating on price, again, sometimes you just got to meet them in the middle. If your price, if you have the ability to cover margin, right, and you've got maybe, let's say the product costs $1,000, your margin's $1,500, they need you to be at $1,400, and you know that you have it in your authority to meet them at $1,400. You can just ask, hey, if we do get you that price, if I can get that price approved, are we moving forward today with business? That's it, and then just do it, It's better to make $400 than zero. All right. Okay, you don't have to be the hard ass closer of like, I never give up that. It's not going to happen in every situation. Some people are good negotiators, and some people are going to put the money objection just so they can get a better deal. They actually do want your product. So sometimes it's necessary to negotiate. Sometimes you just have to do it. If you don't have any negotiating room, you're going to have to find another way to close this deal. And you're going to have to really lean in motivation and really build that emotional support. And hopefully in your discovery phase, you did enough of building emotion through consequence questions to really have more leverage. Okay. Next, very common objection is partner or wife. Hey, I got to really go talk to my wife about it. Hey, I got to go talk to this other member of staff. This is going to come up often. Listen, married couples are going to talk to each other about big financial decisions. Okay. They are. Stop acting like they're not. They are. All right. And if you're selling B2B, they might need to go check with their regional manager, and you might not always get access to that regional manager. You try to access both partners at the same time. You try to make sure every decision maker and every stakeholder and every single sale is present. It's not always possible. Sometimes you have to run with it. So what do we do when we get this objection? Again, we isolate it. You might ask, hey, do they support you trying to improve XYZ? Why is that? If you took the solution to them and they said yes, would you move forward? Why? Hey, what happens if they say no? Now you know. If they say, hey, are they supportive of you? Well, yeah, they're supportive. Does your wife support you trying to lose 100 pounds? Yeah, she definitely does. Okay. And if you took the solution and they said yes, would you move forward? Yes. Okay. Why? Okay. What happens if they say no? You're doing the confrontational work. Are you going to do it anyway? Now you really know. They say, yeah, I would do it anyway. Okay. Well, now you kind of have your answer, right? But maybe there needs to be some education, right? So educating them might be like, we totally want your spouse to be on board with this, right? But slots are holding up. This product is selling like crazy. In order to get this couch in your house and put on hold, you're more than able to give us a fully refundable deposit of 1% so we can hold it. So if you want to do that right now, you can definitely go talk to him and then you can pick it up. Can we move forward there, right? You're educating them on their options, right? Their option is they can either just go home, talk to their spouse, and someone else comes and picks it up, or they can put down a deposit so that way you have it. And that deposit really is just there to give them a reason to talk back, get back in touch with you. So then maybe you have another opportunity to close it if their husband said no. Waiting, right? Hey, you said your spouse supports you on this weight loss journey. And can we be honest with each other? Did you console with them every single time you spent $30 a day on fast food? Then what's holding you back from spending $5 a day on a program that will ultimately help you be a better person and by default become a better spouse in the process? Now, this is a bold way to handle the objection. It's very direct, but it cuts to the chase. And you might lose some people with this and you might gain them with this, right? As far as negotiating, hey, can I let you in on a little secret? We're really pushing volume this quarter. So I do have authority to cut the cost down of this by 15%, but I can only do it for the first time call. That's my restrictions for management. They're not going to budge on this. If you can make the commitment today, can we get it done now? So what you've just done is you just incentivize them to say, listen, this is a one-time offer. Okay. I can give you 15% less. So if this is $1,000 program, $1,000 couch, whatever it is, $1,000 product, $1,000 service, I can cut off $150. Now you're only paying $850. And if you have the ability to offer terms or continual payments, you just brought them from paying just under $150 a month to somewhere around 80 something, maybe $100 per month, right? You've just saved them a significant amount of money. They might say something like, hey, I'm not sure this is going to work. Isolate. Hey, have you tried a solution like this in the past? What happened? When was the last time you made a decision that worked out really well? What happened? Right? I'm isolating it. Hey, have you ever made a decision like this in the past? Maybe they haven't. Maybe this is their first time in this role and they're scared to make a decision. Again, like we mentioned in the last video, some people don't trust themselves. It's not even you. It's not even the product. It's not even the company. It's just they don't trust themselves. So in this situation, you may need to give them some help remind them of a time where they made a good decision. So educating might be saying like, hey, yeah, I totally understand the concern. Here's a brief testimonial from a few people in your exact industry that tried our product and had outstanding results. That's one way to approach it. Motivating. Hey, you've probably heard that the definition of insanity is trying to do the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Based on what we discussed earlier, you need to make a change. So what harm can trying something new really do to you? Negotiating. Hey, listen, if you're concerned right now, this is not going to work. I can get you 2 weeks worth of free samples so you can trial it and see if this works. Now, if it works for you, are you willing to move forward and make a decision? Right? That's one other way you can handle that objection. Hey, now's just not the right time. Very similar to the last one. Now's just not the right time. Hey, yeah, gotcha. Hey, timing aside, does this solution sound like it would benefit you? Does your schedule ever have any downtime? Have you ever tried to make a decision in a time where things were hectic before? How did that turn out? Educating. Listen, approximately 8,460 people die per day in the United States, with only 51% of Americans having some form of life insurance. That's roughly 4,145 people per day that are dying without any kind of coverage. You're educating them to motivate them. I understand things are crazy for you right now, but you said yourself you need to make a change. And if I know anything, life gets progressively harder day to day, not easier. Why don't we make your life a little easier by taking care of this now so you don't have to suffer in this way any longer? Motivating them based on pain. Negotiate. Can I let you in on a little secret? We're really pushing volume this quarter. And so I have the authority on this call to cut down the cost by 15%, but I can only do it on this call. If you can make a commitment today, I can get this done. Let's get this done. So you see, this is not every single objection. Your objections are going to be unique to your industry, right? I can't possibly go through a script, and I'm not trying to just give you a script, because one thing you do got to be careful with objections is you want to deal with the emotions behind the objections, not just the objections. I once had a sales rep lose my business completely not because I didn't want the product. it was actually the way they handled my objections. Because every time I made an objection, they just had the perfect answer. They just had the perfect script, and it was so obviously scripted. It was obvious that this rep took the time and did the hard work to be masterful at answering these objections perfectly. But the problem was we didn't connect on an emotional level. We didn't connect on an emotional level. And so I didn't feel like my objection was heard and dealt with. I felt like he was just answering a script to move the thing along, and it cost him the sale. We need to be able to connect with people when they're objecting with us emotionally. Lastly, when it comes to closing sales, follow up. Sometimes you just can't close a deal in one call. Sometimes you can't close it in two. I do believe most calls can be closed in 4 calls, but things happen. For whatever reason, they just don't move forward, or they insist they need to think about it, or something happens at the business that makes this thing not a priority right now. So I've had plenty of one call closes, but to be frank with you, I don't think that a lot of skill was always involved in that. I really think that I just stumbled upon some laydowns. And a lot of cases, you're going to have to follow up 1 to 16 times to get a deal. I just closed an account recently where I called this person for 2 years straight. 2 years straight to get one piece of information that was crucial in closing the sale, and she wouldn't give it to me. And finally, something happened. Something changed. She was in a good mood that day. She gave me the information I needed. We were able to negotiate a deal, and immediately she started buying. But that took 2 years. I probably called her well over 24 times in 2 years to keep checking in with her. So if you want, that's why a strong pipeline is everything. Because sometimes it does take that time, and sometimes you need to have opportunities in your pipeline that are the long play, and then pick up small plays while you're pursuing the long plays. And the key to follow-up is to simply do it. I can't tell you how many sales reps lose sales because they don't follow up. I had a bug inspection person recently pitch me, and I didn't move forward, but they told me they could get a better price. They told me that my rates are going to increase. They told me all these things, and I didn't believe them, and guess what? They did. And I remember in my conversation with this bug home care company, I asked the guy for a card so I can call him back, and he wouldn't give it to me because he was so obsessed with the one call close that if he'd just given me a card, and when I went back a month later and saw that he was right, I would have called him and done business with him. But I won't even remember the company's name. I don't remember his name. I have no way to reach out to him. He could have gotten my number and tried to call me back in a couple of weeks. Never did it. Totally lost. But he could have won a sale. And maybe next year that same company will come around and it won't be him. Remember what I said, the reps in your own company are as much your competition as reps outside of a company. So follow up. A lot of closes are not going to be as pretty as we're talking about right now. A lot of it's going to sometimes be like gritty and hard, but follow up. It's so important. If you, right now, take this as a reminder right now, if you're watching this video and you've got prospects that you haven't followed up with in months, call all of them when you go back to the office. The next time you're in the office, the next time you're working, call them. Follow up.